This is the weekly sales meeting for September 1st, 2024. My name is Chris Fleming. You can reach me at chris@cdmediaconsulting.com or go to our website at cdmediaconsulting.com. Today's topic still is a weak argument. For the better part of the last several years, I have heard broadcasters large and small fight for relevancy on many fronts. Our biggest challenge is fighting for relevance in the modern marketing landscape, and every time the argument drifts around to how we are still this or still that. When I hear that qualifier, it says to me that if you have to qualify it, you know you are fighting an uphill battle. You know the general vernacular does not include you, so you fight for relevance by using the qualifier of still. If you have to do that, you are fighting for relevance from a position where you are not thought of at all. In the realm of language and discourse, qualifiers serve as tools to add nuance. They supply clarity of context, and they can often express uncertainty. Yet some of these qualifiers, such as the word still, have unintended consequences, that is, to diminish our relevance. The use of this word perpetuates bias. It reinforces the stereotype that we are trying to distance ourselves from. It is a qualifier that undermines our credibility. It removes the validity of the very next statement. We are guilty of marginalizing our own voice. We may well have said, you know what, you're right, we are not relevant, but I want you to ignore that fact and listen to me anyway. As Maya Angelou wrote, you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. This is the conscious choice we should make, the choice to accentuate what we do well rather than fight for a perceived weakness. That is where the market leading position is already assigned to someone else. Language is a powerful instrument that shapes our perceptions, attitudes, and behaviors. The words we choose and the way we use them can either empower or disempower us. We can either perpetuate stereotypes or challenge them. Our language choices will either reinforce biases or dismantle them. Qualifiers like still can inadvertently reinforce this existing stereotype. By using still before any statement, we perpetuate bias. We marginalize ourselves in the statement by admitting that we are affected by the condition being described. Qualifiers have a subtle yet significant impact on the relevance of a statement. By using still, we implicitly suggest that the condition described is abnormal or undesirable. This can have several detrimental effects. It undermines our credibility. When we use still, we imply the next statement is of questionable validity. For instance, our industry might say radio or television still hold mass audiences. The reality is these audiences are far greater than any online platform. But by making this statement, what we are saying is we concede the leadership position in mass audiences to the internet. We undermine our very next statement. This qualifier perpetuates the stereotype. It reinforces existing biases and expectations. We could say mass media is still the best way to reach and influence the consumer base. This implies that something else has already surpassed our ability to make this happen. So we need a qualifier to make you rethink your current anchor position. Qualifiers marginalize the voice. By using this qualifier, we marginalize the voice affected by the condition being described. When we state radio or TV are still the best choice to engage mass audiences to make consumer purchases, implies another delivery vehicle surpasses electronic mass media as the preferred method of reaching customers. To combat the negative impact of qualifiers like still, we need to cultivate a more inclusive and mindful approach to language. Here are some strategies for fostering inclusive language. First, avoid using qualifiers. Whenever possible, avoid using qualifiers like still. Instead, strive for clarity, precision, and neutrality in your language. Challenge known assumptions. Question your own assumptions and biases when communicating about certain topics or issues. Be mindful of the language used and the message you convey. Strive to challenge stereotypes and promote inclusivity. Highlight progress. Instead of focusing on what has not yet been achieved, highlight the progress that has been made toward the more inclusive product. Celebrate achievements and success. Acknowledge the contributions of those who have worked to effect positive change. Listen and learn. Take the time to listen to the perspectives of others. Educate yourself about the historical context of issues. In the words of Teddy Roosevelt, believe you can and you are halfway there. In the world of words, being clear and direct is super important. When we are talking about important things like advertiser relevance, we want people to understand what we are saying, right? That's why it's better to say what's true instead of using tricky words like still to try to make a point. Make it like an episode of Dragnet and just give them the facts. And give them the facts without a qualifier. We set out to use the qualifier to make the statement have relevance, but what we end up doing is diminishing our own importance with an irrelevant 5-letter word. You hear it a lot in conversations and see it in writing. It is one of those words that makes a sentence sound a little uncertain or surprised. Like if someone says, she's still working on that project. It sounds like they're surprised she hasn't finished yet. There may be a good reason she's not done, right? Say what you mean. When we use still in a sentence, we can make things kind of fuzzy. Instead of saying exactly what's going on, we're adding this extra word, and the word doesn't give us any new information. It's like saying she's working on the project, but with a little twist that makes it sound like a big deal. Keep it clear and simple. When we're talking to people or writing stuff down, it's best to address your audience with clarity. That means saying what's true without adding extras that might confuse people. Instead of saying she's still working on that project, we could say she's working on the project. How much clearer is that? We're saying the same thing, but without the extra word that doesn't add anything. As Wayne Gretzky put it, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. By using a qualifier, you've already missed the shot. Another reason we should stick to facts is that it is a way to treat everyone with respect. When we use words like still, it can make it sound like someone's not doing something fast enough, or that a person is not important. But everyone's important, and we should always try to show that in how we talk and how we write. Be positive, be supportive. Instead of using words like still that might make someone feel bad, we can use positive and supportive language. Let's say someone's working on that project, and it's taking longer than expected. Instead of saying she's still working on the project, we could say she's making progress on that project, and we're excited to see what she comes up with. Notice the change in energy of that sentence. Focus on progress, not perfection. Sometimes things take time, and that's okay. Instead of worrying about how long something's taking, we should focus on the progress that's being made. Whether it's finishing a project or learning something new, what matters most is that we are moving forward. So let's celebrate the steps we are taking instead of getting hung up on how long it is taking to get there. Say it straight. Skip the still. When it comes to communication, it's best to say what's true without adding extra words like still that might confuse or upset people. Let's keep things clear and simple. Treat everyone with respect and focus on progress rather than perfection. When you are trying to make a point, the words you choose can have a big impact on how your message is received. And that one word that can undermine your argument is still. This word makes you sound uncertain, defensive, and old-fashioned. Using still as a qualifier can be problematic. You need to find a way to communicate more without it. The word still means up to and including the present or the time mentioned, even now or then, as formerly. For example, if you say, I still think this is a good idea, you're emphasizing that your opinion hasn't changed over time. While this might seem harmless, it can create several negative perceptions. As Thomas Edison said, I have not failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This is one of those ways to fail, making an argument using a fact-diminishing qualifier. Using still can make it seem like you're stuck in the past. When you say, I believe in our old methods, it suggests that you haven't adapted to new information or changes in your field. In a world that's always evolving, it's important to show that you're flexible and open to new ideas. Being perceived as resistant to change can make you seem out of touch or unwilling to grow. Here is the flip. Take, I still think our old strategy works, and substitute this statement. Our old strategy has been effective, but let's explore new approaches for success. When you use still, it can sound like you're defending your position against criticism. This can make you appear insecure or unsure of what you're saying. Saying, I still believe in our product might make listeners wonder if there's a reason you shouldn't believe in it anymore. It's better to state your point with confidence. Do so without suggesting that it's under attack. Instead of saying, I still believe in our product, you could say, I'm confident in our product's value. If there's already a perception problem, using still can reinforce it. If people think your company is outdated, when you say we still use traditional methods, confirms their belief. It's important to frame your message in a way that highlights progress rather than clinging to the past. Try this change for we still use traditional methods. Say we combine traditional expertise with modern techniques. This gets better results. This meaning is quite different. Using still can make your argument sound less compelling. It suggests that your point needs extra justification, which can weaken your stance. Strong, assertive language is more persuasive and shows confidence in your position. Instead of saying, I think we should proceed with the plan, you could say, we should proceed with the plan because it's well researched. It is effective. To avoid the pitfalls of using still, consider these alternatives. Focus on the positive. Emphasize what you believe or support without suggesting that it's outdated or under attack. Instead of, I still think this is the best option, say this is the best option because it offers the most benefits. Highlight progress. Show how your beliefs or methods have evolved and improved over time. Instead of we still believe in quality service, say we are committed to providing quality service. Use confident language. State your points. Be clear and assertive without implying defensiveness or resistance. Instead of I still support this idea, say I support this idea because it aligns with our goals. While still might seem like a small word, it can have a big impact on how your message is received. By avoiding still, you can communicate with confidence. You can show you are open to change. It makes your arguments stronger. Remember to focus on the positive aspects of the message. Use confident language to convey your points. By doing so, you'll be better equipped to persuade and influence others in any discussion. Sure, we want to defend the position we have earned over time, but we don't want to burn our equity by ceding conversational control to upstart methods with unproven tactics. We can own the strengths of our offerings by emphasizing what we do well. We connect businesses to the most likely buyers of their goods and services. We are doing that daily, and we have been doing it since the early beginnings of our medium. We continue to do it with effectiveness and efficiency. We don't have to qualify it with still. It is, and so we should state it as such with confidence and clarity. And then back that up with as much empirical evidence we can muster to make it make sense in the ears of the consumer. My new book, 21st Century Sales Success, is now available on Amazon.com. If you like what you have heard here today, please consider ordering a copy or two. You can always send one to a friend. Go to cdmediaconsulting.com right now and follow the instructions to order.